The quiet truth we forgot before we talk about success, let's talk about time. Because time is the one thing we all share, and the one thing we all misunderstand. We overestimate what can be done in a day, and we underestimate what can be done in a year. We live in a world of acceleration. Everything is faster. Information, communication, expectations. And slowly, almost without noticing, we've started believing that progress must be fast to be real. If it takes time, we doubt it. If it feels slow, we abandon it. If results don't show quickly, we assume it's not working. But history disagrees with us. Cathedrals took centuries to build. Mastery took lifetimes. Wisdom was earned, not downloaded. Yet today, many people quit not because they are incapable, but because they are impatient. They confuse slow with weak. They confuse quiet with ineffective. They confuse small with insignificant. And in doing so, they abandon the very force that could change everything. Because the most powerful transformations in life do not begin with explosions. They begin with repetition, with humility, with small decisions taken daily. Today is not about motivation. It's not about doing more. It's not about chasing perfection. Today is about rediscovering a truth we once knew and forgot, that small daily steps quietly shape extraordinary lives. The power of small daily steps. Introduction, the quiet force that changes everything. We live in a culture that celebrates sudden success. We celebrate the finish line, not the footsteps. We applaud the victory, not the preparation. We glorify the moment, not the years that built it. Yet history tells a very different story. Vincent van Gogh sold only one painting during his lifetime. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Most people remember the result. Few remember the daily grind. As Aristotle once said, open quote, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Close quote. Today, I want to invite you to look beyond the myth of instant transformation and discover the quiet, underestimated force that shapes extraordinary lives. The power of small, daily steps. Chapter 1. Why small steps are so easy to dismiss. Small steps don't impress us. Posting one page a day doesn't feel heroic. Saving a few dollars doesn't feel life-changing. Practicing for 10 minutes feels almost laughable because our brains crave drama. Psychologist B.J. Fogg explains that humans are wired to overvalue intensity and undervalue consistency. We chase what feels big, not what works. There's a famous anecdote about a man who wanted to get fit. He joined a gym, bought expensive equipment, trained intensely for 2 weeks, then quit. Another man simply walked 20 minutes every day. No excitement, no announcement, no applause. 1 year later, only one of them had a new life. As Lao Tzu wrote centuries ago, open quote, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step," close quote. But we forget that the journey continues one step at a time. Chapter 2. The invisible work behind every visible success. We see the highlight reel, not the practice. Michael Jordan once said, open quote, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career, and that is why I succeed." Close quote. What made him legendary wasn't one iconic moment. It was thousands of ordinary practices no one was watching. There's an old story about a stonecutter. He strikes a rock 100 times and nothing happens. On the 101st strike, the stone splits in two. Was it the last strike that broke the stone, or was it every strike before it? Your small daily steps are those invisible strikes. Chapter 3. The mathematics of tiny improvements. Let's talk about growth, not emotionally, but mathematically. If you improve by 1% each day, you don't end the year slightly better. You end the year 37 times better. That's not a motivational quote. That's compound growth. Warren Buffett built his fortune not by dramatic moves, but by patience and consistency. He once said, open quote, "Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." Close quote. Small steps are seeds. They don't reward impatience, they reward faith. Chapter 4. Small steps shape identity. Every small action is a vote for the person you are becoming. One workout doesn't make you fit, but it tells your brain, I am someone who takes care of myself. One page written doesn't make you an author, but it tells your mind, I am a writer. Psychologist Carol Dweck reminds us, open quote, "Becoming is better than being." Close quote. Identity isn't built in a moment of confidence. It's built in moments of commitment. Small steps don't just change outcomes, they rewrite self-belief. Chapter 5, The Lie of Motivation. Most people say, I'll start when I feel ready, but readiness is a myth. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. There's an anecdote about a man who wanted to write a book but waited years for inspiration. One day, he committed to writing one bad page a day. He finished the book in 6 months. Why? Because action creates momentum. As Mark Twain said, open quote, "The secret of getting ahead is getting started." Close quote. Small steps don't wait for motivation. They create it. Chapter 6, Consistency always defeats intensity. Intensity is impressive. Consistency is unstoppable. A piano teacher once gave 2 students different instructions. One practiced 2 hours once a week. The other practiced 20 minutes every day. After 6 months, the second student outperformed the first, effortlessly. Why? Because the brain loves repetition. As Bruce Lee famously said, open quote, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Close quote. Consistency builds mastery. Intensity builds exhaustion. Chapter 7, The Painful Plateau. Progress is not linear. It's invisible. Until it isn't. Many people quit at the plateau. The bamboo plant spends 5 years growing underground before it shoots up nearly 90 feet in 6 weeks. Was it not growing before, or was it preparing? As author Seth Godin puts it, open quote, "The dip is the moment when you're most likely to quit and most likely to succeed." Close quote. Small steps carry you through the silence. Chapter 8, Momentum is born from action. Confidence doesn't come from thinking, it comes from doing. There's a simple rule used in therapy called the 5-minute rule. Commit to just 5 minutes. 5 minutes often turns into 30. But even if it doesn't, you showed up, and showing up changes everything. As Amelia Earhart said, open quote, "The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity." Close quote. Small steps eliminate overwhelm. They replace fear with motion. Chapter 9, Small Steps During Hard Times. Some days, progress looks like survival, and that counts. There was a runner who, after a serious injury, couldn't train like before. Instead of quitting, he promised himself one thing: put on his running shoes every day. Some days he ran, some days he walked, some days he just stood there, but he never quit. As Viktor Frankl wrote, open quote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Close quote. Small steps are compassion in motion. Chapter 10, The Courage to be Patient. Patience is not passive, it's brave. In a world addicted to speed, choosing slow consistency is radical. It takes courage to keep going when no one notices, to trust a process without applause. As Galileo said, open quote, "All truths are easy to understand once they are discovered. The point is to discover them." Close quote. Small steps are faith made visible. Conclusion. One small step today. Your future will not be built by a single heroic act. It will be built by the emails you send when you don't feel like it, the pages you write when no one is watching, the effort you repeat when quitting feels easier. So don't aim for perfection. Aim for presence. Ask yourself, what small step can I take today? Then take it. Tomorrow, take another. Because small steps, taken daily, don't just change lives, they create them. Let's slow down again, because the end of a talk should not rush you forward, it should bring you inward. After everything we've explored today, one thing should be clear. Your life is not the result of one bold decision. It is the result of thousands of small ones. The conversations you didn't avoid, the effort you repeated when no one noticed, the discipline you chose on ordinary days. We admire success stories because they look magical, but they are not magic. They are math. They are habits. They are patience in motion. Every great life you admire was built the same way. One small step, then another, then another. Not when it was easy, not when it was exciting, but when it was ordinary. And here's the most important truth of all. You don't need to change your entire life today. You don't need clarity about the next 10 years. You don't need confidence. You don't need permission. You need one small decision, one step that feels almost too easy, too simple, too small to matter. Because that step is not about today. It's about momentum. It's about identity. It's about trust in yourself. A year from now, you won't remember this speech word for word, but you will live with the consequences of what you do after it. So don't ask yourself, how do I become someone extraordinary? Ask yourself, what can I repeat daily without quitting? Then start there. Because when small steps are taken daily, they stop being small. They become direction. They become character. They become destiny. And that is the true power of small daily steps. Thank you.